Humans worship imaginary beings. Ambassador Thelox sneered during the council session. They create fantasies about gods throwing lightning, serpents turning flesh to stone, wolves devouring suns. Primitive delusions from a species still crawling toward relevance. The chamber filled with clicking laughter. Earth's ambassador, Marcus Okoye, sat quietly in the observer section, saying nothing. He'd learned that silence often taught better lessons than words. That was before the VA Kryn horde arrived. The VA Kryn were extinction incarnate, a swarm of biomechanical horrors that had devoured 17 civilizations in 6 months. They didn't negotiate, didn't take prisoners, didn't stop. Council fleets threw everything at them and barely slowed their advance. When the VA Kryn reached the threshold worlds, the last line before the core systems, the Council called an emergency session. "We need every available ship," High Chancellor Vorin announced desperately. "Every species must contribute their full military strength." "What about Earth?" someone asked. Thelox laughed bitterly. "The primitives who believe in magic? They have 30 patrol craft. Useless." Marcus finally stood. "Actually, we have more than that. Humanity would like to contribute our mythic fleet to the defense." Mythic fleet? Vorin's translator struggled with the concept. "What kind of designation is that?" "You'll see," Marcus said. "We're deploying now. Estimated arrival, 40 minutes. 40 minutes later, the VA Kryn horde smashed into the Council's defensive line at the threshold. 3 million bioships surged forward like a living tsunami. Council forces began their retreat, shields failing under the relentless assault. Then space folded. Not through traditional FDL, something else. Reality rippled, and they appeared. Ships that made the Council's dreadnoughts look like shuttles, each one larger than a city, bristling with weapons that defied conventional physics, and bearing names that suddenly didn't seem so mythical. The UHNS Zeus emerged first, its hull crackling with enough electrical energy to power a star. Lance-like projections extended from its bow, and when it fired, actual lightning arced across the void. Not plasma, not energy beams, but honest-to-God lightning that chained between VA Kryn ships, reducing hundreds to ash in seconds. The UHNS Fenrir appeared next, a predatory shape of dark metal. Its weapons weren't visible until it fired, gravitational maws that literally consumed VA Kryn ships, ripping them apart at the atomic level. The UHNS Medusa positioned itself above the VA Kryn formation. Its central array activated, and VA Kryn bioships simply stopped. Frozen. Their organic components crystallized instantly, turning the living swarm into a field of stone-like husks. More ships followed. The UHNS Valkyrie, deploying wings of fighters that moved like they were choosing the worthy from the slain. The UHNS Kraken, extending tentacle-like tractor beams that crushed ships in impossible grip. The UHNS Phoenix, which took catastrophic damage, exploded, then reassembled itself from the debris. "This is impossible," Thelox whispered, watching his tactical display. "Those weapons violate every known law of physics." Marcus's voice came through on the command channel. "You called them legends. We call them prototypes. Humanity spent centuries imagining the impossible. Gods who commanded storms, monsters who defied death, heroes who shaped reality. Then we asked ourselves, what if we could build that?" The Zeus fired again, and thunder rolled through the vacuum. An impossibility that the VA Kryn experienced as their formations scattered in panic. "We didn't worship myths, Ambassador. We weaponized them. Every legend, every story, every primitive delusion was a blueprint. Zeus taught us directed energy on scales you never imagined. Medusa showed us matter-state manipulation. Fenrir inspired our gravity weapons. Phoenix proved regenerative hull technology. The mythic fleet tore through the VA Kryn horde with terrifying efficiency. The unstoppable swarm met something more unstoppable: humanity's ability to make imagination tangible. Within 2 hours, 3 million VA Kryn ships were reduced to debris. The survivors fled into deep space, and humanity's fleet held position, guarding the threshold like ancient sentinels. The council chamber was silent when the session resumed. Voren looked at Marcus with new eyes. "How many ships are in your mythic fleet?" "Classified," Marcus replied. "But I can tell you this. We have ships named after legends from every human culture. Susanu, Anansi, Quetzalcoatl, Thor, Shiva, each one designed around the myth it represents." He stood to leave, then paused. "You laughed at our stories. But here's what you didn't understand. Humans don't just tell stories. We build them. We dream them into existence. You see primitive myths. We see engineering specifications. So next time you want to mock human legends," Marcus smiled, "remember that somewhere a human engineer is probably turning another impossible story into our next warship. After all, we haven't even deployed Ragnarok yet." The council trembled, not just at the fleet's power, but at the realization that humanity's imagination was their deadliest weapon. And they had thousands of years of myths still untapped.